And then there were three. So 3 games left in the NFL. You have 2 this weekend, and of course, you have the Super Bowl. Did your team make it this far? More importantly, did your bankroll make it this far? Mine did, and I'm going to show you how in this episode. All right, guys, NFL player performance. I, of course, am J.A. Cavalier, your favorite capper's favorite capper. Go ahead, smash the like button. Thumbs up. Appreciation, always appreciated. We appreciate you guys the most. And I want to say this sincerely. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being around here this NFL season. We couldn't have done it without you. We wouldn't have done it without you. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, subscribe. I'm going to be joined on this particular show. We're going to have free picks for this weekend for both NFL games, Patriots, Broncos, Rams, Seahawks. From Luke Shuey, the prop master, he'll drop some props. We have Gunz joining us, and we also have Coach Rick Bowe, the entire Why Lose family here for you, get you guys set up and straight through the conference championships this weekend. We're going to kick it off right now.
If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player performance with J.A. Cavalier.
So Championship Sunday. Now this here is gambling done the right way. Not chasing fireworks. I'm betting with logic. A 2-team alt line parlay. I have the Patriots money line. So I took them down from now the 4.5 to money line. And then I alt-lined the Rams up to +10. See, this is a high probability parlay that's built on 2 things. As a matter of fact, it's the 2 things that matter most in January: quarterback, reality, and historical margins. In the AFC, New England has the quarterback edge. At least we know what we're going to get from Drake May. We've seen Drake May enough. We know who Drake May is. We know what to expect. Betting on Jarrett Stidham at this point is guessing. This narrative about Peyton is false. In New Orleans, he was the benefactor of Drew Brees. But since being in Denver, he whiffed with Russell Wilson, and he's with every other quarterback, and nobody could say that Bo Nix has truly been successful. So for all of Buffalo's mishaps last week, Buffalo was more than in position in that game to win it. Matter of fact, they probably should have won it. Many of us, including myself, say they did win the game, even with all the turnovers, even with all the follies, all the fumbles, even with Josh Allen playing the worst game as a pro as I've ever seen the man play. They were still in a position to win. Now, you can argue as a Broncos fan all you want, or a Broncos backer, maybe even in that game, that it was an interception. It fucking wasn't. When you're cradling a football in a fetal position and the defensive back's arms are extended, that's a catch and he's down. Robbed. Fucking robbed. Anyway, also you have to take into account Stidham hasn't thrown a meaningful pass since 2023. So if you're betting the Broncos in this spot, you're betting on a quarterback who hasn't thrown a pass that mattered at all since 2023. The line flipped in this game for a reason. Remember, the Broncos opened up as a chalk, and then immediately, as soon as you got news about Bo Nix, it flipped. Now, I get it, and I probably agree that 5.5 was an overreaction, but money line is good money. Just win the game. I love it. Now, in the NFC divisional rubber match, right? Not a mismatch. Rams and Seahawks, these two live in the margins. Decided by 1 score. That's how all of their games have been played. And now I'm able to get the Rams up to +10. The league's top offense, Matthew Stafford, an offensive line that actually protects him. And I get it, that Seattle defense is top-notch. Probably the best defense in the league. Seattle might win this game, and I believe Seattle has more than a good chance to win this game. But hard to imagine that at any point in this game they're going to separate. not against Sean McVay, not in a rivalry game, not in a game where it's win and go home or go home, right? This parlay, it's not going to be flashy. It's disciplined. But disciplined is the exact formula that you want when seasons are on the line. So give me the Patriots money line and the Rams plus 10. It's a 2-team alt-line parlay. Now, if you don't understand or don't know how to play alt-line parlays, you could just simply put them in a 2-team 6-point teaser. Yes, I know Wong would absolutely come out and smack me in the back of the head for teasing through the 0. But I think in a spot like this, as long as you're getting Patriots at money line or Patriots below the number, that's where you want to live. And I have no problem with a 6-point teaser because you're getting the Rams up to 8.5. I'm playing the alt-line money line alt-line parlay. I'm putting the Patriots money line and then the Rams plus the 10 at minus 133. I fucking love it. And guys, again, thank you for being here with us this NFL season through the ups and downs. Mostly ups. I don't think we had a losing week for the first 10 weeks of the season. Then we hit a little rough stretch, but then it's coming along well, as of late. But this week, one play. That's it. The only bet I'm making right here. You heard it. Alt-line parlay. Love it.
3-point spread winners posted daily on ylose.com. That's the letter Y, LOSC.com.
Gunz and Coach Rick talking a little NFL Conference Championships. We're going to start with the AFC. First on this one with New England playing Denver at Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. 3 p.m. is going to be the kickoff on this one. Coach Rick, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, everybody and their mother is, you're talking about the Denver quarterback situation. Bo Nix gets hurt. He's done. Jarrett Stidham's going to come in and take over. I guess the sky's falling, or I don't know. The line opens at 5.5, somewhere in there. And, everybody and their mother runs and says, oh, well, that number's probably a little bit too big. And now we're seeing that thing come down to, 4, 4.5, 3.5, you'll find out there. So, I would just caution, I would, pump the brakes a little bit on Jarrett Stidham. I think he took one snap this year. He took a knee. He's a solid quarterback. He's been in the league for 7 years. So, before you say, oh, well, New England's going to, dick stomp him because they don't have a QB, before you do that, or before you say, hey, Jarrett Stidham's really, really good and they're going to be okay, maybe you want to take, pump the brakes and maybe take a look at the matchup. So, again, I always go back to it's about the matchup because, last week, all I can remember hearing and reading comments about, Houston and their defense, and man, New England they didn't play anybody and their schedule was soft. And none of that really means much to me. In the NFL, if you're looking at schedule strength, I don't bet games if you are, change your strategy because the schedule strength, there's 32 teams and the difference between, the teams at the top and teams at the bottom, it's not all that much, so be careful, I guess, is my advice. In this game, the matchup's about two really, really good defenses and two really outstanding football coaches. So I look at it like this. I look at Denver is going to play really good defense. They play great defense at home. They're a 3-4 team that plays more zone than man. They like to play too high and they like to blitz. So, what's all that mean? Well, it means that if you remember last week, one of the plays that we made was on Nick Bonito to record half a sack. Well, they got after the QB last week. CJ Stroud, is running around for his life. And of course, Nick Bonito did cash on that. That's one of the plays I'm going to look at. You can get Nick Bonito over half a sack at minus 125. On the other end, think about, Drake May and the New England offensive line. He's been sacked 47 times. That was in the regular season. Last week, he went down 5 times. Houston got after him. And Houston, you want to talk about defenses, Houston, Denver, there's a lot of similarities there. So I would expect Denver to get after Drake May, to try to make him uncomfortable, try to force him into some situations. that he's going to have a tough time with. New England on offense run a lot of two backs, two tight ends, shifts, motions. I love what Josh McDaniels does a lot of times. It reminds me of stuff I used to do where, I'll come out in two tight ends with two backs, maybe throw a receiver in motion, and then I'm throwing the ball, in what looks like a running formation. I'm going to throw the ball, and then I'm going to come out with one back and a shotgun and, no tight end. Maybe it's 10 personnel, and then, I'm going to get into runs, some kind of run play. So he keeps defenses, kind of off balance. So I wouldn't be surprised again if New England has success on offense. Last week, people saying, hey, Houston's really, really good on defense. Well, Denver is too. And you know what? New England has had success against teams that have had or have good defenses. On the other side, New England's defense, same deal. Like, this is a really good defense. Mike Vrabel's a defensive-minded head coach. They're a little bit different, though. They're a multiple front type team. You'll see some odd, you'll see some even. What they do more than Denver is play more man coverage. So you're going to see a lot of single high safety with cover one, where one guy's free and they're playing man under. They don't blitz as much as Denver, but they still manage to get some pressure on the quarterback. They're going to, you'll see some too high, but that's usually in passing situations. They don't get after the quarterback like Denver does. And they're actually bottom 10 in sacks. I think they were, I think they were less than 40 for the season. So, however, do they keep teams out of the end zone? Yes, they do. So I think you're going to see two really good defenses go at it. Like I said, right now, I like the Nick Bonito over the half a sack. When we talk about defenses, I like to take a look at totals, of course, and I believe the game total is still at 42 and a half. We've looked at it before where, in a game like this, points are at a premium. Teams come out, kind of play close to the vest early. I'm not all the way there yet, but I'm leaning towards the first half under, which is right around, I think you can get it at 21 at minus 110. So keep an eye on that one. I think the play that I like and really like right now, I'm going to stick with it because it just continues to cash. And that is New England is just really, really good in the first half. They keep it close in the first half. And in this case, they've got an advantage at quarterback, obviously with Drake May against Stidham. So I think Denver will struggle a little bit early. Trying to figure out what Stidham can and can't do, maybe. But New England they're a first half cover machine. So, you could play it. You could play the money line. You could play minus a half point, minus 1.5, whatever. Just take your pick, take your price point, really. But they are 16-4-1 against a first half spread. So right now that's the big one for me. And then, like I said, I kind of like Bonito. And the first half unders on the list. And if you're looking for, again, I'm going to mention kickers in the next game. If you're looking for a kicking prop in this one, you probably want to look more towards Will Lutz because Denver, likely would, if they're going to get down close, they're probably going to struggle a little bit more than New England would. So Lutz may get, a couple field goal attempts instead of touchdowns. You can get him over 1.5 field goals for minus 135. I'm not there yet on that one, but that might make the card. We'll see.
I mean, I think we're looking at this game the same way, and it's remarkable that you brought up Nick Bonito because I'm going to be talking about him here in a second. So what I've noticed a little bit about Drake May, and I think Coach alluded to it, is like everybody's public perception is like you have Jarrett Stidham at quarterback on this one going against Drake May, and everybody's saying, well, I guess we can just roll out the red carpet, give the Patriots the position as the AFC Championship, and of course, only to be contending for the Super Bowl. Well, I would say, last time I checked, Denver still has a defense, and last time I checked, Sean Payton is still the head coach for the Denver Broncos, and he has won a Super Bowl. So, granted the quarterback situation, there's a reason why Jarrett Stidham is the appropriate selection to be the quarterback on this one, and I think there is some trust factor there. he hasn't had a lot of reps. He hasn't had a lot of snaps. I do get that. But there's something that is sticking in my mind that we shouldn't be just devaluing this quarterback on this one. But I'm going to be looking focused a little bit on the Denver defense in this situation and how Drake May performs in these type of situations. Now, Coach alluded to it. Denver is a very heavy blitz team, and it shows in their numbers. They're number one in QB sack percentage this year, 10.1%. Is their QB sack percentage this year. So I went back and looked at the files and looked at the season that Drake May had against good pass rushing defenses. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're ranked 10th in QB sack percentage. 1 interception, sacked 5 times, 1 forced fumble, 1 loss, and a QB rating of 63.5. They went against the Cleveland Browns. 3rd ranked in QB sack percentage this year. 1 INT, 6 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 0 loss, and the QB sack percentage is 72.5. Then they went against Atlanta Falcons. Now, Atlanta Falcons, you would think they didn't have a good defense. Well, they have their 4th ranked in QB sack percentage this year. 1 interception, sacked 5 times, 2 forced fumbles, 1 loss, QB rating of 48. Houston, 5th ranked in QB sack percentage, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, sacked 5 times, 4 forced fumbles, 2 lost, and they had a QB rating of 20.8. LA Chargers. These are 2 playoff teams that they went against. They did win these games. They did cover these, mind you. 1 touchdown, 1 INT, sacked 5 times, 2 forced fumbles, 1 loss, QB rating of 68.7. So what I'm telling you here is the numbers drop for Drake May when he's going against heavy pass rushes. And that is kind of a detriment of him all season because that offensive line is young and they're not a well-gelled unit yet to protect Drake May. Now, we look at the QB rating of Drake May overall, 77.1 versus top 10 pass rush teams, 54.7. Significant drop in his performance. And you got to look at and another stat that we're going to be looking at is his completions, because Drake May averages over 20 completions for the season. However, when he goes against good defenses, good pass rush defenses, 19 or less in 4 out of those 5 opponents that I just mentioned. So what I'm telling you is, well, you know he's going to get sacked probably at least 5 times on average. Why wouldn't Nick Benito get a sack? He is their lead sack guy. He had 14 sacks this season. I think he has 1.5 in the playoffs. So, yes, I think him recording a sack has validity, and you can get it at -127 on DraftKings right now. I'm sorry, I think you can get it on FanDuel at -127, but you can get him at I think they actually boosted the number up on DraftKings at 0.75 at his sack. So it's not even half a sack anymore. They made it 3/4 of a sack, which is kind of remarkable on that one. But also his pass completions on the under is what I'd look at as well. At 19.5 is his completion number right now, and I do believe that's going to be under. He will get 19 or less based on the probability. So I'm going to be taking that one. Drake May under 19.5 pass completions, and Nick Benito to record a sack at -27. I'm sorry, it would be -27 juice on that one. Next game, we're talking about the NFC Championship. We can talk about the LA Rams going against the Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field in Washington. 6:30 is going to be the kick, the final game to select the NFC representative for the Super Bowl. We have Sam Darnold going against Matt Stafford. If you asked me that was going to happen 10 years ago, I would say you guys are nuts. But we're looking at it dead-faced. So, Coach, this is going to be a great game. 2 great teams, highly ranked on both sides of the ball. Yep. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, outstanding. I mean, go to the last one, 38-37, shootout. We all know they split the 2 games this year. They're both outstanding football teams. Number 1 offense, the Rams, number 1 defense, Seattle. You go to the other side of the ball, the Rams are a top 10 defense. Faltered a little bit down the stretch, but still very good defensively. And in Seattle, offensively, Sam Darnold. I actually believed in Sam Darnold. Like in his draft class, I actually thought he was the best guy coming out. But that's me. but he's done wonderfully well, this year, last year, just outstanding. So it should be a great football game. Again, I go to the matchup, but before I go to that, like this one for me, it's really simple. And you know what I'm going to say, because it's Jason Myers. Like if you want to pick in this game, you got to go to the kickers. So even, go back historically and look at a lot of these conference championship games over the last 3, 4, 5 years. You'll see a lot of like 20, 23, 26, 33, 35. Last year, didn't Philly score 55 points or something? Like you see a lot of points, and a lot of points typically means that your kicker's getting involved either with field goals or kicking points. So in this game, I've played both of these guys over the last several weeks. So Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals. It's juiced because he's kicked 2 field goals or more in, I think it's 14 out of 18 games. So it's minus 154, but I'm going to play it anyway. And I've played Mevis for the Rams. I think each of the last 2 or 3 weeks he's cashed. He's at minus 118 for over 1.5 field goals. So again, whether they score or whether it's a 19-16 game like the one that they played earlier in the season, the kickers are getting involved in this game. So that is a definite. As far as a side or a total or whatever, you got to look at the matchup. So the great thing that you have is some info, because they play each other twice every season, and they played each other twice this year. And you can look at, the Rams were 3.5 point favorites. Total was almost 50 in that first game, and then that one was, it was 21-19. Sorry, not 19. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that was the under in LA. Correct.
Yeah. Yep. And then they went to Seattle, and that was the second game where Seattle had the big comeback and they won 38-37. They were favored by 1.5, but the total was only 42, so so this game you have, Seattle's 2.5 point favorite. Total's right around 46 and a half ish. So it's kind of in between. So we go to the matchup. Well, let's take a look. What's going to happen? What do we expect? Well, number one pass offense in the NFL, that's the Rams. They're going to go up against the best defense in the NFL. Now, how did they get to be the best defense? Well, they do things really, really well. One is they rush the quarterback with the 4 dudes up front. So they don't have to blitz a lot. And you will see, 4-man rush almost every time. They rarely bring a 5th guy. But they're also, they also play a lot of 2-high coverage, which, I train quarterbacks all the time. And, we talk about when you see 2-high quarterbacks, like you can't have more guys in the box. So a lot of times you can turn towards running the football when you see a 2-high shell. Well, just so happens that Seattle's pretty damn good against the run, right? So they do both well. They defend the pass and the run well. Although you got to mention that the Rams ran the ball for 124 yards in one game and 119 in the other this season. So they did have some success on the ground. Will that help Matt Stafford, open up and, score some points? We'll see. On the other end, the Rams, like I said, top 10 defense, but they did falter down the stretch. They had, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 out of their last 6 games. They gave up 27 points or more. It happens. I mean, they're still a great defense. They do it differently, though. It's interesting to, kind of look at how teams play and what they do. But the Rams are a big, kind of bluff team. They disguise a lot of what they do. And they don't blitz a lot either. They use what, we call them simulated pressures. So you'll see maybe you see 5 or 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. Like they all look like they're going to blitz, and 2 of them, 1 or 2 will drop out, whatever, and they're just going to play some basic coverage. And they actually play cover 4 almost every snap, really. So you'll see 2 high safeties a lot. Sometimes play cover 6, which is just a combination of 2 and 4. Can Sam Darnold navigate that? I think he can, because what does Seattle do and what are they committed to do? And that's run the football. So they also had success running the ball against the Rams, So I think really what it comes down to is two great offenses, two really, really good defenses. They played one game where it was low scoring. They played another game where it was high scoring. One game was 2 points, the other was 1. Flip a coin. So my advice, other than taking Jason Myers and or Harrison Mevis and or parlaying those two, is you probably want to do some kind of teaser. You probably want, whichever side you like. Maybe you're teasing the Rams up over 10, and pair that with something else, because it should be a close game between two very outstanding teams. So like I said, Rams plus 10.5 and mix that with, something.
I mean, that might be the way to do it. But looking from a side and the total perspective on this one, I think you hit a lot of the key points that I got my notes on this one. Like Coach said, it's the third meeting. One went way under and the Rams took it. The one went way over and Seattle took it. Of course, we got to look at just the home game as the sample point on this one. That was the higher scoring game. That was at 38-37. That was a prime time game. I believe that was Thursday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken on that one.
I think so.
So night game, singular game. But we've seen the number uptick to 2.5. It goes from a 42 to 46.5 a month later. So I try to look at how these teams perform in this type of situation from a total perspective. You look at Seattle; they're 4-0 to the over when the total is between 44 and 47 this year. They're also 5-1 ATS as a favorite of 3 or less. So that is kind of some key numbers there to look at on this one. And also, the books have made this the highest home total there for Seattle, and Seattle is 6-3 to the over this year, 3-1 to the over versus conference opponents. Not conference opponents, divisional opponents at home. So that is something to look at on this one. Of course, when you look at the Rams on the road, a lot of overs start to get hit on that one. 8-2 to the over on the road this year, coming off 8 under as well in Chicago. But mind you, the weather in Chicago, last time I checked in January, kind of bad, kind of cold, and kind of windy. So that kind of kills everything. And, of course, you bring an LA team to Chicago in January. Well, the totals tend to stay low. But Coach made a lot of key points on this one as far as like the defensive offense is concerned. Of course, playing the number 1 offense with the LA Rams versus the Seattle defense that is ranked number 1 in a lot of key categories. But don't sleep on this Seattle offense because their numbers are very great as well. They're second in scoring, 7th in yards per game, 6th in yards per play. They're ranked 10th in DVOA. And you have a Rams defense that's actually ranked 4th in DVOA if you actually look at the numbers on this one. But these two teams know each other very well. And I think we're going to be looking at if there's going to be a high-scoring game in any of these conference games, I just think it's going to be this one. And that's kind of where I'm going on this one right now. Have I got there yet? I haven't. But if I'm looking at this one, I'm probably going to be looking at the total. Am I going to take it at 46.5? As long as it's under this key number of 47, 48, it may be the way I go with this one. But Coach talked about putting teasers together. So, if you like a side on this one, you tease the side and you put it with the over. I think that's the way you do this one and knock it down to, if it's at 46.5 and you can knock it down to 40.5.
40.5.
Man, that could be a little juicy teaser right there at minus 120, minus 130, depending on what books you get it at with the side. So I think Coach playing it that way, that's the way to do it. Or if you want to go and dick around with the Patriots or Denver, you could do it that way too. But I do believe this is going to be a relatively high-scoring game that is going to be either close to the number or way over. It's going to be one of the two. That's how I'm going to be looking at this. But, man, we broke down the AFC and the NFC championships. That is Coach Rick. I am Gunz Picks. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, Coach,
giddy up.
And let's keep dancing. Enjoy the games, boys.
If you like free picks and you want more, go ahead, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you click the bell. This way you never miss a free pick from the team at whylose.com. That's right, guys. Get to ylose.com. That's the little YLOSE.com. Free picks, stats, trends, scores, odds, and more. For Luke Shuey, Coach Rick Bowe, and Gunz, I, of course, am your favorite capper, J.A. Cavalier. We're going to see you back here for the Super Bowl show. We'll bring the entire team in and do a Super Bowl show, much like we did last year, where we just fucking feasted, right? So we'll do that for the Super Bowl again in this show. I got to really tell you right now, the Rams are winning the Super Bowl this year. I do expect them to win this game outright on Sunday. And then I expect them to beat the Patriots and get their double revenge, right? So they've lost 2 Super Bowls to the New England Patriots. They get their revenge this year. Let's go Rams. That's my ticket, the ticket I'm holding. My 2 Super Bowl tickets were the Buffalo Bills and the Rams. Buffalo Bills got screwed, bent over in Denver. Screwed, fucked, cheated. Don't care what anybody says. Anyway, we'll see you back here for the Super Bowl show. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. It's crazy to think that Super Bowl's already here, right? It's crazy to think that we're at the conference championships this weekend. It's just fucking crazy how fast the season goes. We're going to be sitting here doing a draft show before you know it, and then the Hall of Fame game in August. Can't wait for that. So we're already marching towards it. Let's go. All right. So look forward to cashing all the bets this weekend. Hope you guys fucking smash. If your team is playing on Sunday, good luck with that. And if it's against my bet, I hope you fucking lose. Anyway, until we see you back here for the Super Bowl show, always remember that with your heads, not above them.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no